Imagine showing up to Daytona, rolling your race car onto pit road, then telling your crew chief, hey, let's unplug all the sensors. No oil pressure, no temperatures, no brake temperatures, no fuel pressure, no engine diagnostics, no telemetry whatsoever. We'll just know if something's wrong. Sounds ridiculous, right? No professional race team would ever do that. Yet that's exactly how most people approach their health. They wait until something hurts, until they're exhausted, until recovery slows down, until focus disappears, until the check engine light finally comes on. Today, we're asking a simple question. What are you measuring? Because your body has telemetry too. And if you're not reading it, you may be missing the very data that protects your greatest competitive advantage. Let's go green. Hello, I'm Jeffrey Mort. If you're like most in NASCAR's top tiers, drivers, crews, owners, or executives, while you're busy chasing podiums, have you fully considered who's taking care of you? Right here, you're about to start transforming your mind and body for peak race day performance with High Performance Health, designed exclusively for the demands of NASCAR. As a certified high-performance health coach and consulting hypnotist, I've coached elite entrepreneurs and athletes to higher energy, sharper focus, and greater resilience, naturally, safely, and backed by science. And right now, I'm bringing that same engineered approach to the best in motorsports. Here you'll find no wasted time, just a unique blend of integrative health, mental conditioning, and proven recovery strategies delivered in plain language that you can use right away. Imagine a season without burnout, brain fog, or the costly crash of your health. Because the truth is, the real race starts within. I'm grateful you're here. Yes, welcome back to Breaking Boundaries for Champions, the only high-performance health podcast built specifically for motorsports professionals. I'm Jeffrey Mort, your personal human performance engineer and founder of Victory Lane Wellness, where we help drivers, pit crew athletes, crew chiefs, team owners, and motorsports professionals protect their assets, optimize recovery, resilience, and longevity through science-backed high-performance health. And if you're serious about protecting your competitive edge, be sure to subscribe because every week we're helping you build a stronger human operating system. All right, let's get into it. Most people believe that they're doing everything they need to do. I hear that all the time. Oh, I'm doing everything. I've run all the tests. They see their primary care physician once a year. Maybe they end up in the infield care center after a wreck. They wear a smartwatch. They count steps. They track workouts. They watch calories. They measure sleep, maybe even heart rate variability. And honestly, those are all valuable. I love seeing people become more engaged with their health. But here's the question. Would that be enough telemetry for a race car? Of course not. Annual checkups answer a very important question. Are you sick? High Performance Health asks a very different question. How efficiently are you performing? Those are not the same conversation. Your doctor is doing exactly what they're trained to do, to identify disease, to manage disease, to screen for disease, and thank goodness they do. Our lane is completely different. We're asking, where are the hidden inefficiencies before they become symptoms? Where are those small losses that quietly steal your champion's edge? Let's pop the hood for a moment. If I were evaluating a championship race car, I'd want to know much more than whether it still starts. The same is true for the human body. Fuel quality. First of all, do we have the raw materials? What are the raw materials that our body uses? Vitamins, minerals, healthy fats, amino acids, because you can't build championship performance with missing building blocks. Every neurotransmitter, every hormone, every muscle contraction, every recovery process depends on raw materials. No parts, no performance. All right, next, let's get into the engine. Can your engine actually make horsepower? This is where mitochondrial function becomes fascinating. Your mitochondria are the engines inside nearly every cell of the body. You have approximately 50 trillion cells in the body, and each of those cells has hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands, depending on which cells we're talking about, mitochondria. And what they do is they convert food into energy, and that energy is called adenosine triphosphate or ATP. This is your body's energy currency. And one of the ways we evaluate this is through what we call the Candida Metabolic and Vitamins Test. It's also known industry-wide as the Organic Acids Test. We have other tests as well, but that's one in particular that's very easy to do and the more common one that we run, where we can look at patterns within what's called the Krebs cycle, also known as the energy cycle. You may recall that name from biology class back in high school. The biochemical engine responsible for producing cellular energy. And if that cycle or that engine isn't running efficiently, you may feel it long before conventional lab work shows anything abnormal. Maybe it's slower recovery, or mental fatigue, or poor endurance, difficulty maintaining focus late in the race weekend. And again, this is all telemetry. So we're going to break down today in all these different systems. That was the engine. Let's talk about the cooling system. This is where inflammation comes into play. Think of inflammation like engine temperature. A little is normal and necessary even, but too much and performance begins falling off. And this is why we measure things like your omega-3 index or your omega-6 to omega-3 ratio or your arachidonic acid to EPA ratio. Not because those words or numbers are exciting, but because inflammation influences recovery. Talking about joint comfort, brain performance, reaction time, even long-term health. So now we're talking about your legacy. All right, next, let's get into the electrical system. Look at the wiring. Minerals are not just nutrients, they are electrical conductors. Talking about minerals like magnesium, sodium, potassium, calcium, zinc, they help regulate nerve communication, muscle contraction, sleep, recovery, heart rhythm, and hundreds of enzymatic reactions in the body. And if you've ever chased an electrical gremlin in a race car, you already understand why the wiring matters. So this next topic, very important, and we're talking about the immune system. Another piece of telemetry we rarely talk about. And most people think about their immune system only when they catch a cold. But for a high performer, it's much bigger than that. Think back to race weekends when drivers have competed while battling illness. Kyle Busch is one recent example that may come to mind. Now, his talent didn't disappear, and his motivation didn't disappear when he wasn't feeling well. But when your immune system is fighting an infection while you're pushing through performance, it's redirecting valuable biological resources towards peak performance rather than recovery. And as we all saw, that can be costly. The immune system is part of your performance team. Healthy sleep, balanced nutrition, stress reduction, and most importantly, recovery, they're all helping support that system long before race day. Okay, another one is the exhaust system. Next comes environmental toxicities, things like heavy metals, chemical exposures, talking about track compounds and fuel exhaust fumes, mold, air quality. Even motorsports has unique environmental exposures. You know, the fuel vapors, the brake dust, the solvents in the garage, cleaning chemicals, they're all part of the environment. Anytime anything heats up, like the paint on the chassis or in the interior of the car, or even the vinyl wrap on the exterior, these are all chemical components that release molecules and they're all part of the environment. And the body has a remarkable detoxification system, but like every race car, they perform best when they are not overloaded and when they are maintained. Okay, next, the software. Talking about your circadian rhythm. talking about sleep and stress and brain health. This is the operating system. And last week in Breaking Boundaries, we talked about neurospeed, we talked about mental conditioning, we talked about focus and flow. None of that exists in isolation. The software depends on healthy hardware. Okay, now here's one of the most fascinating pieces of telemetry that we can measure: biological age. Now, most people only think about chronological age, the number of birthdays you've had, or the number on your driver's license, for instance. Biological age asks a much better question. How old does your body actually behave? You see, scientists have discovered that your genes carry tiny chemical markers that change over time. This is what's known as epigenetics. Think of them like wear patterns on an engine. Those patterns are influenced not just by the passing years, but by things like your nutrition, your sleep, your stress, your exercise, back to that environmental exposure we were talking about, and of course, overall lifestyle. In other words, two people can both be 45 years old, but one person's body may be functioning like a healthy 35-year-old, while the other may already have the biological wear and tear of someone who's 55 or even older. And that's why this measurement is so exciting. It shifts the conversation away from simply counting birthdays and towards something we can actually influence. And at Victory Lane Wellness, we are not trying to beat the calendar. We're reducing unnecessary biological wear and tear so that you can protect your focus, your recovery, your resilience, and ultimately your career longevity. Because in motorsports, it's not about how many years you've been racing. It's about how much performance your body still has left in the tank. And that is true asset protection. So why this matters? Imagine two drivers, same equipment, same talent, same crew. One relies on guesswork. The other uses human telemetry. Who catches small problems first? Who adapts sooner? Who makes fewer mistakes? And who extends their career? The answer is obvious. Well, the white flag is out. That means it's the final lap here on Breaking Boundaries. The best race teams don't wait until the engine throws a rod before checking oil pressure. They collect data to prevent failure. Your body deserves the same strategy. High performance health isn't about chasing perfection. It's about making better decisions with better information. Because when you measure what matters, you can improve what matters. And in motorsports, it's those tiny improvements that become enormous advantages over the course of a season. If today's episode made you wonder what might be quietly stealing your competitive edge, we've created a complimentary assessment called What's Stealing Your Edge? And in just a few minutes, you'll discover where hidden physiological stressors may be limiting your recovery, your focus, your resilience, and your long-term performance. You'll find the link in today's show notes, because the question isn't whether your body has telemetry. We know it does. The question is, are you reading it? And if you're the kind of person who's serious about protecting your focus, your recovery, and your legacy, we'd love to help. At Victory Lane Wellness, we combine advanced functional telemetry, personalized human performance engineering, and our NeuroSpeed mental performance system to help drivers and motorsports professionals perform at their highest level naturally. Every enrollment supports Race for a Reason, providing advanced functional testing for chronically ill children through racing-related charities. Remember, the strongest competitive advantage isn't always found under the hood. Sometimes it's behind the wheel. We'll see you in Victory Lane. Bye-bye. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Breaking Boundaries for Champions. Before you head out, here's one more way to level up your game, both on and off the track. We're excited to team up with Therasage to bring you the Thera H2 Go Plus, a next-level hydrogen water bottle designed to keep you hydrated at the cellular level. This isn't just water, it's clean, natural, and science-backed hydration that fits right into your high-performance lifestyle. So if you're the kind of person who's ready to fuel your cells like a true champion, grab yours now. The link is in the show notes, and use code VICTORY for your exclusive offer. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, keep breaking those boundaries.